Welcome back to another episode of Exploring Math with Mr. Papik. Today we're going to talk about how to solve a linear system by substitution. When we say linear, the first four letters spell the word line. So we're talking about lines. A system means you have more than one line. And substitution means, well, you've done substitution in sports. Maybe you've done it in cooking. If you don't have a certain ingredient, you replace it with another ingredient. Or if one player gets injured or tired, you take that player out of the game and put another player in their place. That's substitution. Remember, you have to take one out and put something else in equal to it. That's the only key to substitution. Okay, so let's go over how to solve by substitution. When solving by substitution, we have a series of steps. I'm going to zoom in and have you pause. Write these down. So time to pause. Write these down. I'll be back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we've got some equations here. I'm going to zoom back out. These are some of my equations. I have 4 of them up for us, and we're going to do 2 of them, I believe. So I'm going to start with the first one. And I'm going to write it over here. I'm going to write them in 2 colors. Y equals negative 3x plus 5. And y equals negative 5x plus 11. Okay. I'm going to go back to the directions. It says get one variable alone. This means to get y equals or x equals. Choose a variable that is already alone or has an invisible one in front of it. Well, when I look at this, I see both of them have a y equals. You know what that means? You can use either one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this y equals this stuff, right? Over here in the red equation, I'm going to remove that y and replace it with what it equals. So your equation will look like this. Negative 5x plus 11 equals negative 3x plus 5. Did I do that correctly? Negative 5x plus 11 equals negative 3x plus 5. Yes, I wrote it correctly. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see this a little bit better. Remember, your notes, your steps are over here on the side. Step 2, substitute what y equals or x equals into the other equation. Oh, we already did that. This is step 2. Step 1 was getting y alone. They were already alone. You should only have one variable, either all x's or all y's. Solve for that variable. Okay, come back here. X number. There's no y's here, only x's. So I'm going to solve for my x's. What I like to do is keep the most positive x. This one's more positive. So I'm going to get rid of the negative 5x by adding 5x to both sides. Always got to be equal on both sides. These will cancel. I get 11 equals 2x plus 5. Am I done with this? No, I haven't solved for x yet. Okay. Plus 5, I want to remove the constant. My goal is to get x alone. So minus 5 minus 5. I get 6 equals 2x. X is almost alone. It's being multiplied by 2. Divide by 2, because that's the opposite of multiply by 2. And I get 3 equals x. That's this step. We finished the step 2. We got the solve for the variable. I know what x is. Step 3. You should now know what y equals or x equals. Yes, we do. X is 3. Take this number and substitute it into the original equation. Or I could say the other equation. Solve for the original variable. So this 3 is my x. Right there, I circled it. I'm going to take this 3 and put it right there. And I'll write it like this. Y equals negative 5 parentheses plus 11. I like to use parentheses so I can remember to take the x out and replace it with what it equals. The x is gone. Okay. Y equals negative 5 times 3 plus 11. Y equals negative 15 plus 11, negative 4. Solve for the original variable, that's the y. Remember the original variable up here was y equals, y equals. We now know y equals negative 4. There's our answer. Write the answer as an ordered pair, x comma y. So I'm going to say 3 for x, comma y. That is my answer. Now we did the exact same thing a while ago when we had two lines on the same graph. We graphed the two lines. There's only one place where these two lines agree. That was our solution. Negative 3, negative 4. We're doing the exact same thing now, just we're doing it without the graph. We're just doing substitution, just algebra, no more graphing. Okay, we did it once. I want to do it again. But this time I want to choose a different type of equation. See here I had y equals and y equals. That was easy. Here, if I'm going to do these two, the only one that has y alone is right there. So I can put this stuff into there. I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to choose a little bit more difficult one. I'm going to choose this one. If you get an equation that looks like this, I have a different technique for a different video. Try that. That'll be next week. Nothing's alone. You can still use this technique. You just have to do this. I don't know if you remember this from a couple days ago. This is all written in standard form. How do you convert from standard form into slope-intercept? Use these steps. You get y alone. You could do it to get x alone too. It still works the same steps. You just have to, if you want to do that. I'm going to do this one. So I'm going to rewrite it over here. My two equations. X minus 3y equals 1. Negative 3x plus 8y equals negative 5. Okay, that's what I'm going to work with. Let me just check and make sure I wrote them down correctly. X minus 3y equals 1. Negative 3x plus 8y equals negative 5. Yes. All right, I'm going to zoom back in. We're going to follow the 3 steps again. Step 1, get one variable alone. Well, nothing is alone yet, but this x has an invisible 1 in front of it right there. I only have one x. So if I move these over, x will be alone. Plus 3y plus 3y. X equals, that's our goal. I like to put in the variables first. The y's are positive, so 3y is positive. The 1 is positive, like that. Do not combine them into 4y. It's 3y plus 1. Okay, choose a variable. Okay, we got one alone. Substitute what this equals. Well, this equals, x equals this. Substitute it into the other equation right here. So we say negative 3 parentheses plus 8y equals negative 5. In the parentheses, I'm going to put what x equals. 3y plus 1. The directions say you should only have one variable. Y. Okay, there's only y's here. There's no more x's. Solve for y. So, this is why we taught how to do those longer equations with parentheses and everything. We're going to distribute the negative 3. Negative 3 times 3, negative 9, y. Negative 3 times 1, negative 3. Plus 8y equals negative 5. Combine like terms. Here's my equal sign. These are my like terms. Negative 9 plus 8 is negative 1, y, minus 3 equals negative 5. Y is not alone yet. I need to take care of this constant. Minus 3, I'm going to do plus 3. Plus 3. negative 1y equals negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. Okay, I've got this negative y multiplying by negative 1. I got the y times negative 1. Divide by negative 1. Divide by negative 1. Y is alone, because those negative 1's drop out, equal positive 2. I have my first solution. Okay, there's my first answer. It said solve for that variable over here on step 2. We did it. Step 3 says you should now know what y equals or x equals. We know y equals 2. Take this number and substitute it into the other equation, the original equation. So now I'm going to say x equals 3 parentheses plus 1. Inside the parentheses, I take out the y and substitute in the 2. Remember, you can only substitute when they're equal. Well, I can take the y out because y equals 2, and I can put the 2 in its place. That's what substitution means. Don't try to memorize all this. Have your notes handy. Follow the steps. But if you understand it, that's even more important. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1. X equals 6 plus 1, 7. That was fast. Okay, last step. Write your answer as an ordered pair. As always, x comes first, just like in the alphabet, 7, 2. If you want, you can put both of these numbers into either equation, and it should still come out perfect. Okay, I think we're good. Try some more of these. Remember, have your notes, write them down. Enjoy.